All right, media, we'll get started with GM head coach Derek Fisher. We'll start with Tukni Nguyen with the LA Times.
Hey, Fish. Obviously, the first half of the season just unraveled in a lot of different ways with the injuries and obviously this losing streak going into the Olympic break. But knowing that you have some relief with some people coming back, what are your emotions heading into this month-long break?
I mean, I think emotions are, stable. I mean, those can't really ever allow those to drive or define, how you respond in situations. And yeah, I think emotions are fine. Everything that is happening is under our control for the most part. Played against another good team tonight. They were doing a lot of good things, moving the basketball, sharing it. But we had our opportunities, and so we just have to take a little step away from it for a bit, but we'll get back to work individually and collectively, and be prepared to start the season back again in mid-August, and really look at it as a new opportunity to come out and play one game at a time and give ourselves a chance to win every night, and then go from there. You can't no do-overs for the first 19 games, and you can't play the next 13 games at once. So, I think overall, it's going to be good for our group to, get some time away. A lot of our players have had to carry much more responsibility and work than, what they or any of us envisioned coming in. So they deserve this opportunity to step away for a bit, and then we'll get back to work, in a couple of weeks.
Speaking to the break, what are kind of your own personal plans for the next month?
For the next month, I'll take some time as well, just to kind of, reflect and, think about our team in terms of, how as a staff we can help our group to get better. And then, just start to plan, after 4 or 5 days, start to plan for, what we want things to look like as players, start to return to LA. And, we'll have what looks like a couple of Olympians. And so we'll still have to kind of plan accordingly as far as what practice looks like, still not necessarily having, your full team, but just knowing that, people are going to get back. So, I think for me personally and for our staff, it's a great opportunity as well to, look back at all the video, look at where we can help our team and help players to put them in position to be more successful out there on the floor, and come back, energized and ready to get after it. There isn't anything that is out of our reach at this point. Still a lot of basketball left to play, and that's how we're going to approach it.
Thanks, Tukni. We'll go to David Yapkowitz with the next.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to ask you about Lauren, tonight, especially on the defensive end. She had a tough matchup there at times with Sylvia Fowles. A couple of possessions she was on Nafisa Collier, but she actually looked kind of decent out there. As you guys are building this culture in terms of having, a really strong, tough defense, how do you see her continuing to fit into that as we go into the second half of the season?
Yeah, no, we feel very, fortunate, that things didn't work out as well for Lauren in Indiana, which, that happens with players all the time, with young players or veteran players. Sometimes the situation just isn't the right one. So we were fortunate to be able to have Lauren join our group, and she chose to, come and be a part of what we're trying to do. And she's done a lot of really good things for us so far without, fully understanding what we're trying to get accomplished, really on either end. But she's trusting her instincts, and she has a good feel for the game, and that's what's really, making it work for her when she's out there. It's hard to, maybe say how, proud we are of, players like Lauren. We have multiple Laurens at this point, like the amount of players that we've had out, the amount of games missed. We have players like Lauren that are playing a career high in minutes almost every night, that are playing against some of the best players in the world every night. And we've been relying on them to try to help us win games. And I think it's made us better, even though the wins and losses don't necessarily say that on paper. But we're going to be a better team because of these experiences over the last 4 to 5 weeks. And I think Lauren has definitely shown, that she has a future in this league. She's matched up with some of the best players that play the center position over the last couple of weeks, and she's done an admirable job. So we're happy to have her, and we feel like she's going to be able to come out of the break and be even better, as she starts to get more practice time in. We really haven't practiced at all since she's been here because of the amount of games we've been playing.
Thanks, David. We'll go to Chris Camella with Nightcast Media.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for taking the time. I just wanted to ask you, you talked about getting everybody back and obviously restarting the season again in mid-August. Is there a concern, though, where it's like we're almost like restarting altogether? And do you see that as a good thing or as a potential negative thing where you're almost kind of back to square one?
Yeah, I think it'll depend on, each team. I think for us, it's going to be a good thing because we'll be able to, it's not making the assumption that, NECA back, Shanae back, Christy back, Vadiva, et cetera. Like, it's not that we assume that we're just going to magically be better because people are back. But I think we're excited about the opportunity, just to reflect and reassess, like, how can we, now that we've seen a lot of our players, multiple games, they're playing a lot of minutes, how do certain players match up with other players around the league when we played against certain teams? How can we start to look at, what our rotation can be with those players that are returning? What's going to be the right 8 or 9 players, 10 players, maybe to really play consistent minutes every night, and have the additional depth that we'll have coming out. So I think your question is fair. Like, it could be hit or miss depending on the team. But I think for us, we view it as a positive because I think we'll get a chance to really, kind of recalibrate, get ourselves back together again, and, come out playing some better basketball with more bodies out there on the floor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. We'll go to John W. Davis, Winsider.
Coach Fisher, can I ask you to put your general manager hat on for a second? What are some of the roster decisions you're going to have to make room for NECA, Chanae, Christy, and Maria? Because the way I'm counting right now, you'll have more than 12 players.
Yeah, well, we'll like break some of those things down. We obviously with Bria and Carly here on hardship, contracts, those are, per the CBA, those are kind of tied to when players return from injury. So as NECA and Shanae get back and are set active, that'll make some things automatic. And then, we'll have to kind of figure out from there, what the right moves are to make, to try to balance out the roster. We'll see what the report dates are. If you have players in the Olympics, what that means, and, timing wise of when they'll be back in the States, clear COVID protocols, et cetera. So, we'll still have some things to manage, but, we'll for sure when NECA and Shanae, are returning, basically, we'll have to make decisions on Carly and Bria at the appropriate time.
Next time for one more with Coach, we'll go to Gabby Duchan with LASparks.com.
Hey, Coach. Thank you for being on tonight. I just wanted to ask about your team. You guys have suffered certain losses and things like that, but do you have a specific word or phrase to kind of define how this team has stayed resilient and motivated during this stretch of games where they've been missing key players or anything like that? Do you have a specific word or phrase to kind of define this first half of the season for your team?
I mean, I think overall we've started to develop, I think, the grit that it takes to win at the highest level. Like this, getting knocked down the way we, the way we started to when we began losing bodies, and the game got so much harder for us, as we lost players. And I think we found a way through that difficulty, that even though the game is still hard because of the players that we're missing at times, at other times it's because we're not converting on the plays that are actually there to be converted on. But in both, I guess, set of circumstances, like it's taken a level of mental toughness and grit to still come back every night and show up with the intent to win and play and compete that way. And, other teams have ultimately won the games, but they've had to beat us. There haven't been many nights where we've just shown up and laid down. And that's something that every team that hopes to be successful needs to have. And I think this stretch brought that out of our group. I think prior to that, I don't know if we were able to stand up to some of these adversities that we faced over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And, like I said earlier, it sounds weird to say that based on the win-loss record, but as a staff, when we're watching the games back, we're doing more good things. We just haven't had enough in the tank and enough of the talent that you need at times to get it done out there on the floor. But we're going to keep getting better, keep doing the work. And like I said, I think, I think grit is something that we're starting to form as a team. I think every player that's here has it, or they wouldn't be here. But there's a team level of grit that we have to develop and keep working on. And I think we started scratching the surface on those things during this period.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, questions for Erica Wheeler. Finished the first leg of the season with 13 double-figure performances. We'll start with David Yapkowitz with the next.
Hey, Erica. Seems like this first half of the season, you've kind of settled in as the team's kind of floor leader out there, primary ball handler, knowing when to look for your shot, when to get your teammates involved. Just, as you guys continue to build this culture here, despite the losses that you've had in terms of injuries and the tough stretch of the season here, just what have you seen out of this group that gives you reason to be optimistic at all, going into the second half of the season?
I mean, the one thing you can't question is our effort. We're down bodies and we still trying to get it done. We still turn teams over. We still getting more shots. It's just more so us being down bodies and just not making shots and just finishing plays that's kind of easy. So just going into this break, I think that it came at the perfect time. We all need it. But just when we come back and just get back in the gym, we should have everybody back and healthy. So just focus on like how we can just gel together and put the ball in the basket. Because like I said, I've been telling the media for the past weeks and games that we probably the best defensive team. So it's more so offense for us.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. We'll go to Chris Camella with Nightcast Media.
Hey, Erica, thanks for taking the time as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Always. I kind of wanted to ask you when everybody does come back, do you kind of see like this as, well, two-part question. One, do you see this as starting from square one again with NECA and Shanae? And the second part, is that a good thing or a bad thing in your opinion?
I don't think it's starting from square one at all because NECA and Shanae and Casey is still in the huddles. They're still in practice. So it's more so just an add-on. I just think it gave because you got to understand, like, our bench mob is starting. So I think it gave our bench mob juice to say, okay, hey, I can play with the best of the best because I've been put in a situation already. And, of course we didn't win no games, but we still giving teams hell. Your second part, I don't know what you said.
No, if you did believe that it was starting from square one again, do you believe it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Nothing is a bad thing, man. We still got the opportunity to do the job that we love. We got 13 more games when we get back. So one game at a time. I don't want to think too far ahead. Just get back in the gym and just do the things that we need to do to execute and win these next 13 games.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. We'll go to Tukney and you win with the LA Times.
Hey, Erica, so what are your plans for the next month? How much of it's going to be basketball? How much of it's going to be relaxing? How are you going to balance that?
I'm gonna definitely take a break mentally and physically. You know, it's been tough, but you know, this is my job. This is what I signed up for. So I'm gonna take at least about 4 days off, but I'm gonna definitely put the ball back in my hand because I'm a type of player that can easily get out of shape very fast. So I don't think I'll be away from basketball too long. So, but I'm gonna definitely take a mental and physical break, at least 4 or 5 days.
Thanks, Tukney. We'll go to John W. Davis, Winsider.
You know, we've constantly talked about, you know, being down bodies. Right now, the record is 6-13, but like you said, there are 13 games left in this season. So with all of that said, how does adversity fuel you?
I'm better under pressure. You know what I mean? I'm not that good when I'm comfortable. So for me, I love it. You know, I think that when we get back, our backs against the wall. We don't have nothing to lose. So for us, I think we just gonna all come out and just bring it. And for me, I'm gonna just lead my team the way I've been leading them and giving them everything I got each and every night. My coaching staff is gonna prepare us the way we need to. So that's really it.
Kari Jones Jr. with the LA Sentinel.
Hey, what's going on, E?
Hey, what's up, man?
A lot of calls didn't go your way tonight, and I seen the frustration on your face, but you kept your mind together. You know what I mean? Can you just elaborate on just how you're able to just stay under control and not just get angry and things of that nature?
I think, you know, I know the referee job is very hard, but it's just like, it just get frustrating when you know, doing your job the right way and doing what your coach said and getting into the paint and the foul calls are not getting called. So it's definitely frustrating because this is hard trying to get to the basket and put the ball over seal and not get a foul call. It's very hard. So for me, it's very frustrating because if it's not going my way that way and the ref is looking at it and not, you know, making the call, that's hard to do. When we already down, that's very hard to do. So for me, I did get frustrated. You know, I shouldn't have, but sometimes you just have to let the refs know, man, like that's it's not fair.
Time for one more. We'll go to Navier Grimes with LASparks.com.
Hi, Erica. You mentioned how you guys are still going out there and giving these teams hell. How proud are you of what you guys have done so far this season?
Most definitely proud because you got to think about every team we played besides probably Minnesota, maybe I don't know, but most teams their rosters are filled. Like they have everybody back. We down 3 key players, like 3 all-stars, Shanae, NECA, and KT, and we still giving teams hell. Like teams are not beating us by 20 points. And if they do, it's because of the last 4 minutes where it's a stretch. But in 3 quarters, we're still playing with teams with our bench mob. So for me, I'm not worried at all. You know, teams still hasn't seen us play as a full roster yet. So like I said, it's just fuel. Like I said, when we get back in the gym, we're gonna work. And one game at a time, we're just gonna chip away 13 games.
Thanks, Erica. All right, questions for Brittany Sykes. We'll start with David Yapkowitz with the next.
Hey, Brittany. You know, earlier Coach Fisher was talking about how this team's really starting to develop, you know, that grit needed to win games, that, you know, even though it may not have translated into wins, that you're still developing that mindset in terms of, you know, just not rolling over and continuing to stay in games. I mean, you know, with that grit and toughness, that's you know, that's how you play. Just how do you, what have you seen in terms of that, and how do you keep that up, you know, in the second half to maybe start translating into some wins once you get everybody back?
Well, thank you for that. I think it's just one of those things where we We just have to continue to put our words into actions. Like we said, we wanted to become the toughest team to score against. We said we wanted to be a tough team that when teams play basketball, they got to play their best basketball against us. And I think we have done a really good job. You know, obviously people are going to say, well, did you win or did you lose? But in a way, we've won a lot of these games for ourselves. We've won those games where in the early season, when we get down by 10 or 15, it keeps going. Now we stop the bleeding a little bit earlier and we're starting to learn, you know, to take care of those possessions. So we just got to keep doing it. We just got to keep fighting.
Amna Saban with the LA Daily News.
Hey, Brittany. It seemed from my perspective that Fish was in there for a while talking to you guys. Was there anything that he said that really stuck with you that you'll take with you on the break?
I mean, no, it's not even a thing of like something that's sticking with us. It's just we talk about everything, you know. So he came in here and he talked to us about like, all right, yeah, we're on the losing streak, but now with these, you know, 2 to 4 weeks that we have before our next game, just to, you know, like really come back ready to really get over that hump. Because it's with one thing we learned, to get better, it's uncomfortable. Like when you just are right there, the crack in the surface, that's when things go into a disarray, and we have to stay like this. And we're doing a pretty good job of it. And I think that's all he wanted to reiterate it with us in the locker room before we left, and to be safe and to come back just ready.
John W. Davis, the Winsider.
What's going on, Slim? How you feeling? I feel that. I feel that. Well, before I ask my question, I just want to tell you, I know you're a basketball head. I just want to tell you that the professor was here to watch for Man One Mixtape.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. But
That's
anyway,
dope.
yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, so anyway, you know, at 6-13, you have 13 games left. I talked with Erica about this. How does adversity fuel you?
Personally, I feel like throughout my career and obviously throughout life, I feel like adversity has been my best friend, in a sense to where it's always a moment when things are going good, or there's moments where things are just going bad, and it's like, what are you going to do? That's what I ask myself. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to fold? Are you going to give in? Are you going to complain? Or are you going to keep playing hard? Are you going to keep playing tough and just control the things you can control? And I think personally, I got out of myself a little bit with the refs. I was talking to them a little too much. So yeah, just that adversity, when it hits, you just punch it back. That's how I see it. We just got to punch it back, and we do that. But for me, yeah, I think it just makes me a better person. I play harder because I like a little something on my back, because then I got a little extra to play something for.
Chris Camello with Nightcast Media.
Hey, Brittany, thanks for taking the time, as always.
Appreciate it.
I wanted to ask you, and I asked Erica and Fish this, do you see this restart coming back in early to mid-August as kind of almost going back to square one? And if so, is that a good thing or a bad thing, in your opinion?
Nope, I don't think it's a square one thing. I think it's where we are, we build off of that, like kind of how I had said, like from before, where we're getting to that point where it's the most when we're the most uncomfortable, right? Where we're trying to figure it out. We're like, how are we shooting more shots than the other team? How are we turning them over and still not getting, positive outcomes from turning teams over? We're right there. Like, I don't think we need to go back to square one. We have square one. We have our foundation. Now it's time to build on that foundation and keep going. So yeah, no square one. We're right there. We are literally right there.
Time for one more. We'll end with Navier Grimes with LASparks.com.
Hi, Brittany. Any plans for the break personally, on or off the court?
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
Do you have any plans for this break on or off the court?
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. My first 2 weeks, I'm really gonna step away from basketball and just, I like to say, be a human, because when we're in it, we're in it. We are in it. So I'm looking forward to just taking a break, playing with my puppy, seeing my family, seeing my friends, and just being normal. And then obviously when it starts to trickle back into when we have to come back to LA and report and start working out again, that's when we lock back in. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting some much needed rest and just relaxing. Just relaxing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Brittany.
guys. Have a wonderful Olympic break. Y'all be safe out there.
Yes, thank you for joining us through these first 19 games. We look forward to welcoming everyone back on August 15th at Staples Center against the Indiana Fever. Thank you.